Hello, everyone. This is another episode of United World Sports, episode 35. Dante Suave, Drew in the house.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Of course, Mr. J is gonna be back next week, but me and Drew gonna still do our best to entertain and talk about things that matter in sports.
Absolutely.
So
We're gonna have a good show. I mean, while I understand Jay makes some very valid points, the only thing he really brings is that he's better looking than both of us. So it's the ladies who are going to be exiting off this interview. They're going to be Jay's not there. Let's head out. So the ladies are the only ones that we're going to be missing. So ladies, I will miss you until next week. But I'm sorry.
all right.
Tough looking.
I'm technically I'm the only bachelor of the three, so that just makes that especially funny. That makes that especially funny. But anyway, let's get started.
Here's to that.
So I ran across something and I put it in the chat, and it was the NIU head coach, and he was sounding off on the transfer portal. So I'm about to play this sound bite courtesy of College Sports Only.
I told our team the other day,
Oh,
we lost all these guys. Let's see who plays. I told our team the other day, we lost all these guys. Let's see who plays. So it's all good when people put it on Twitter, hey, all glory to God, I'm going on the transfer portal. Let's see if they play. How many of those guys going to play or travel or get snaps? I was going to tweet something the other day, a picture of me, and say, you know what? I enjoyed my college experience. I didn't get one dime, but the lessons I learned was more valuable than any money you could ever pay me. And I appreciate that because that is long term. People are losing the fact that this is short term. I coached in the National Football League for 5 years. 5 years, right? Don't lose focus on what the long term. Get your degree, learn valuable lessons that's going to help you in the long term of your life. That's the whole purpose. This is a transition from being a kid to a grown-up. And I hope people don't lose focus of that. Everybody's talking about everything else besides what is the most important thing for going to college. Because if you're going to college to go get a couple dollars, you might as well go get a job. This is too hard to go get a couple dollars. Learn the lessons that you need to learn to be successful in life for the next 40 to 50 years of your life. I would do it again for free. For free. Because of the things I learned.
thoughts?
So I am of both minds on this. So I grew up in the era when paying college players was a scandal, and teams like SMU and that got the death penalty because of it, and everything was like, oh, college players don't get paid, and it was a joke, and it was bags of cash being delivered to your parents, by an assistant coach, graduate assistant somewhere down the road where he just happened to find $50,000 laying on the ground somewhere, and magically through the generosity of the boosters, it made it to your parents' hands or your uncle's hands or whoever helped you make those decisions, right? So, while I understand his sentiment and I get it, the idea that you're not talking about part-time job money here. You're talking about change in life money for playing a game, and it starts earlier. So now you're talking about kids that play and get paid to play college football at a very high level. Let's say after 3 years of college football being, just your middle of the road college athlete, but the best one at that school, and he makes, what is he, $350,000 a year, right, from NIL, which is what I don't know what top is, bottom. I know what the top is, but I don't know what the bottom is. I don't know what the average is. But we'll just say 350, right? With that seems like life-changing money,
Yeah.
right? It's something that's worth going after. Now all of a sudden, let's say he takes and gets a concussion his junior year. And let's say it's a severe concussion where he's out this entire junior year. Well, he just banked $1.5 million over the last 3 years of being in college. He doesn't have to keep playing football if he doesn't want to. Or let's say he doesn't ever get medically cleared, and let's say the rest of his life he has symptoms from that severe concussion and he can't hold a regular job, right? Let's say he, there's several things that go involved in this, and it's the same aspect of why do professional athletes put themselves through it? It's because the payday is so large. Well, now you ask the same question, why do college athletes put themselves through it? Well, the payday is large, but you're now spreading that wealth and you're getting it to them earlier so they can make better decisions for their mental health, for their physical health, and their well-being way sooner. And you don't end up with guys, unfortunately, like Junior Seau, who takes his own life because of CTE issues. Do you think that if he played less years in the NFL, taking less abuse in the NFL, because when he came out of college, he had a bank of a couple $1 million, maybe he'd still be around? I don't know. It's a good question to ask. I'm not saying that the NFL caused him to, I'm not saying that the NFL is at fault. Not at all. But what I am saying
he
is
loved the game, so I think he still would have.
Maybe not. I don't know. And that's the thing, is you don't know what the motivation is. But I think if you take money out of the equation as being a motivation for some of these guys, and you go, hey, you're going to walk out of college a millionaire, just being the best guy, the best player at whatever school you're in, right? Regardless of, are you at Northern Illinois? Are you at Minnesota? Are you at Miami, Washington, whatever it is? If you're going to walk out of those schools being close to a millionaire or over $1 million, do you think that they are going to have they're going to make a better decision for their life moving forward? I think they might end up making a better decision because they don't have that weight of, oh, I got to take care of my parents. It's a big trope, right? Going, you go pro early because you have to take care of your parents. You got to take care of everybody that you knew growing up, and getting them out of poverty and everything like that. And it's a storyline because it's a true storyline and it's a narrative. So help that along a little faster, get that out of the way a little faster in college. You can learn how to take care of your money, learn how to take care of everybody else in your circle, and figure all that out without jeopardizing your future as anything else that you want to go and do. It really opens it up. So, maybe that star quarterback in college that didn't want to play professionally has a different path now. Maybe they want to go be a doctor or a lawyer or anything else that, a marine biologist, maybe whatever it is. It opens up way more doors because now you don't have to spend so much time trying to go pro. You have options. Money presents options, and that's all I'm saying is these are way more options. And I don't think, and it's not like having a part-time job when he was in college, playing and trying to manage his college career. It's way different. You're talking, Arch Manning making, $6.8 million just in NIL money. That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
He play, he 1 year of that, and he can decide now. Yeah, okay, fine. He's coming from a wealthy family, all that kind of stuff. Fine. Fine. Find
and
somebody
they're
else.
more
Okay, fine.
and
Pick,
they're
pick
yeah.
anybody else.
Yeah, because 9 times out of 10, he's going pro no matter what.
Right, but that's the thing is even if he didn't, right? So let's say let's take him out of the equation because 20 years ago, or 30 years ago, when his uncles were in college, right? They didn't have
Yeah.
to worry about money. They didn't get part-time jobs. They had money, right? They're coming from means, so they didn't quite understand, right? Okay, so we'll take Manning's out of it and pick anybody else on that list that comes from a middle to lower middle class background that's going to plan on you playing football the rest of their lives. Well, now you're handing them NIL money in college. They can take care of everybody that's back home, waiting for them to make it big. And now you can give them freedom to choose what they want to do with their life. You're in college, you can pick what you want to learn. You can go here and there and do whatever you want. Now, majority of them are going to go play football because that's what they love doing. And that's all well and good. That's great. That's fine. And I hope they're healthy and doing well. But giving them more money earlier can be a blessing to some of these guys who don't want to play football the rest of their lives.
A lot of the scenario that you're speaking of mostly applies to the guys that everybody more than likely knows. College, that's gonna be it. And there are some of the guys in their head, they want to go pro, but they know. They know from what the coaches are telling them, I'm sure in their mind somewhere, and you're taught to fight it. But if you honestly analyze yourself, you know whether or not you're gonna be able to make it. And the NIL has done good. It's done some bad. Me and you have talked about some of it. I don't like the whole
I don't think either one of us like the transfer and the movement of the players, chasing the money and stuff like that. I don't think either one of us like that.
No, and I also don't like that there's no like, okay, you can move, but you can only move during this time and this time. There needs to be some, because sitting up there losing your potential star player in the middle of the season because he decides to jump into the portal. Come on, bro.
Yeah.
And it's
Or
one thing
doesn't play the bowl game because he's gonna jump into the portal, and you bank on that bowl game to help recruit, because a strong showing in a nationally televised game as
or do like what's his face did, do like Cam did, which had it not been for the low level of the quarterback the quarterback class, he would have dropped, because there were a lot of players that had done stuff like that and they dropped. But
yeah, he transferred twice, right?
So Cam,
yeah,
I believe so. But the thing that kind of made me scratch my head about him was Miami lost that bowl game, and it's, to me, it was in part to the fact that because they weren't doing bad. I believe they had the lead when he decided, I got my stats, I'm sitting out because I don't want to I don't want to risk injury. Okay, that's fine. Then the school should also be allowed to go, oh, you're not playing in this ball game? Then I need some of that money back that we gave you to play all the games.
Sure.
And if you want to jump into the portal, your pay stops that moment.
If you're getting paid from the school, sure.
Yeah, whatever you got paid up to the time from the school that you jumped into the portal, it stops there. And it stops there, and whoever picks you up, that's your new deal. You got to do something, because that's why it's looking so out of control. Now, the one upside to the portal is that the guys, the teams can't stack up no more because a lot of the players going, I'll just jump into the portal and I'll go start somewhere else.
You're losing a lot of legacy when it comes to college football nowadays because of the
Yeah,
portal. So
yeah,
you're losing powerhouse. So your
right,
powerhouse status for teams and then being like I don't remember what the I mean there was linebacker you and quarterback you and all of those things are going away because of the ease of transfer. So you
yeah,
no longer have if you're Ohio State, let's say, you no longer have the sequential line of quarterbacks that are dominant.
right,
You have a lot more question marks going in, and that hurts the sport, helps the player. I feel like you have this uncertain term of won't he play that affects everything from
right,
recruiting to depth chart to student enrollment to you know marketing, all of these things that go around. And while we can use big schools as examples, it's the small schools where maybe you only have one player that's going to get NIL money and it's only 20 grand a year, right? Or 10 grand a year or something small like that,
yeah,
right? But in their market they're really bankable and they're really likable, and all of a sudden and you built your school and your football team's brand and identity around this guy, and then all of a sudden, well, I don't like he called the offensive coordinator called the wrong plays for me in the last game that I played. Well, I'm out.
yeah.
Transfer,
So,
he's gone,
so,
and he's a
so,
sophomore. And he's gone, and you're like, oh man, I was planning on him for at least next year, if not his senior year, to get my team to get. And now all of a sudden, you are up the creek. You don't have him, and you're scrambling, and now your team is you go from hey, maybe I have a shot at winning a mid-major conference and making it to an Alamo Bowl or the Gator Bowl, or you know what I mean, like a lower tier, a nationally televised bowl game. But if you're Ohio State, going to the Gator Bowl is a disappointment. If you're NIU, going to the Gator Bowl is great.
right. So,
And that's the difference, man. You're
yeah,
costing the school money. You can cost your coach a job. I mean,
and
a lot is
and
at stake when you transfer.
and last word. A lot of what he said, I completely agree with, but the one thing that he said that I don't agree with, you can't compare millions to a couple of dollars. You can't compare hundreds of thousands to a couple of dollars. You can't. I get what he was trying to say. For the most part, the entire thing made sense. We are so caught up in in the flash of everything
Yeah,
that a lot of us at the end of the day, the the vanilla, as people tend to put it sometimes, that wins out no matter what.
yeah,
At the end of the day, the ones that truly win it's the vanilla situation.
I agree.
So the life lessons are actually more important than the flashy gains, and that's always gonna be true in anything you want to bring up.
Sure.
So like I said, for the most part, I completely roll with him. The only part I disagreed on was him kind of equating like the millions that some of the players get, and like you said, it gets rid of the dynasties. I think that's what's coming around. People want to get paid, and things are going to start coming down the pike to go. Okay, you're getting paid. Eventually, they're going to fix this. I guarantee you, they're going to fix it.
It's a matter of making them fix it.
It's
We're going to make the NCAA fix it.
when well, I believe the schools. eventually the schools, the fans, something's gonna happen because it always happens, right?
Yeah.
Look at the NBA.
Sure.
The more that they changed, the worse it has gotten, and then the fans start speaking up, and then the players start speaking up, and everybody arguing, and Mr. Silver is wanting to put out a good product. So what does he do? Oh, guess what? We getting rid of it wasn't really working for everybody anyway. So let's get rid of the everybody team up thing we've been doing. We'll leave that to the video games and the people at home. Uh, uh,
Yeah.
um, now we gonna go back to what it originally was supposed to be. Coaches, do your job. Scouts, do your job. Make sure you bringing in the right people for your team to excel.
Right.
And we end up with, I still say, was one of the best NBA finals, even though we'll never truly have it the way it should have ended because Halliburton got hurt.
Correct. I completely agree. I think
So
that you hit the nail on the head, especially when talking about who's going to make a change, and it's not going to be the fans. The college football is always going to find fans. What's going to happen is a middle tier team from a major conference, right? And I'm going to give you an example. Let's say the University of Cincinnati decides that they're going to go all in. They get massive backers and they find all the financial help that they can get. And they bring in your top 10 players in NIL earnings and top 10 players from all over 1 year, spend a bunch of money, $25-30 million, buy a national title. And then you're going to see the rules change because you can't allow a team that has been so middling and most of their years not great to win a national title by exploiting the same rules that you allow Ohio State and LSU and Miami and Texas and Florida and all those big name blue bloods in college football to exploit and use to dominate all of the not equal twos. So until one of those not equal twos spend exorbitant amounts of money and buy a title, you won't see anything change.
we'll see. But on to the next segment
Absolutely.
that we wanted to talk about, which was something that you put in the chat regarding something that Shaq said. So I'm about to play the sound bite.
Yeah.
Looks like you got it from Off the Record.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna let this play. Shaq Diesel.
It says, Shaq, we need a blank. So even if LSU's athletic director calls you and says, Shaq, we need a blank check to build the best men's basketball team that can rival with NIL and everything, would you sit there and say, I'm on board?
No, because I have a problem with NIL. It stands for name, image, and likeness, right? And then there's collectors, right? We have to pay players.
Yeah.
Because all you players don't have name, image, and likeness, so why are you getting paid? This is what I would do. Let's just say I'm on a team and my jersey selling. Let's just say I get a check for $5 million. 2.5 should come to me. That's my jersey. And the other 2.5 should be split amongst the players. I pay you to go to school and play. And then I pay you, and then you don't like it and you leave. So if I'm gonna pay you, now that's called professional sports. Let's get some collective bargaining involved.
So yeah, Shaq's point was why these kids should not be getting paid from their schools. And none of the boosters and fundraising and everything else that you go to your famous alumni for should be funneled to pay players to stay at the university to play.
Yeah,
and I agree with him. And because then you turn it into a transaction. NIL, name, image, likeness, that's one thing. If you're famous enough between social media and your play and the hype and your jersey sales and all that kind of stuff, you get a portion of that money when it's sold. Great, awesome. perfect, wonderful. Please do it. Absolutely. But the college's paying is what he's talking about. And then famous alumni just throwing a blank check at him going, hey, go win me a national title because here's a blank check for you. And, I agree. I think that sets a really bad precedent. And until, like I said, until like a mid-tier school like UC spends, that 20 to $35 million, wins a national title in whatever sport, pick one between basketball and football, then nothing's going to change. Nothing's ever going to change. And because we allow the large schools in those sports to spend whatever they want from wherever they want, you're going to have this problem in college sports where it's, oh, yeah, we're going to encourage you to jump in the transfer portal because, well, you're at Memphis right now. And yeah, while you get a good amount of NIL money, well, you'll get your NIL money here, but we'll also pay you $2 million a year. So why don't you come down here from Memphis and come down to LSU? Or you're playing at Oregon and yeah, Oregon's okay. But if you come down to Florida, I'll pay you $5 million a year. Like, it's free agency. So they're no longer amateurs if the school is paying them. And now you're dealing with professional athletes and not amateur athletes. So, and that's that's what it boils down to. So.
All right. So yeah, and it goes back to what we were talking about real quick. I had the last word, and then we'll move on to some other topics.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it was, and we were talking about that earlier. Only it was with football, but the same applies. Even Shaq brought it up. It's like, yeah, we paying these guys this money, and the guy actually wasn't even that good, and then he left.
Right.
And I was, like I said, I was talking about that because I've seen them do it in football too. And it's like they could just up and just leave.
Yeah, there's no contract. There's nothing there. Yeah.
And they got all that money that you paid, and now you can't do nothing with trying to find somebody else that is as good or hopefully better, according to what Shaq said about to do. Hopefully better than what he was, so that you can try to so that you can try to get a team on the court that's actually gonna be some problems. So at the end of the day, the bottom line is they are going to have to implement some rules. Simple as that. They are going to have to put some rules to this. I think it's going to take some coaches. I think it is going to take some of the colleges going, hey, we're wasting the boosters specifically. The boosters like, hey, we wasting money. No.
Care.
Like
Boosters don't care.
we wasting money. Something needs to be done, and you need to do it now.
Yeah, you got to have somebody like it. I agree with you. I think the other thing that you can see is something catastrophic, and I mean catastrophic on the level of like Arch Manning leaving Texas midseason and declaring that he's transferring midseason, just obliterating Texas's chances of winning anything and screwing them to the wall. And then
because Colin Hurd has them in the championship against Oregon.
Yeah.
I mean against Penn State.
Yeah.
I don't want to misquote him. So yeah, it's just bottom line. I do see some good things. It's not all bad.
We're not all doom and gloom here.
Yeah. The guys going to other teams, making games more competitive. I mean, to sit there and watch that Vanderbilt game when they I believe it was Bama that they beat, and you're just sitting there like, wait, what just happened here? And then you find out, oh wait, a bunch of starters that used to be that was going to be backups decided to transfer. Some of them went to Vanderbilt, and hey, they ended up fielding a competitive team.
Great team,
and they just beat Bama.
And you went to a great school. It's not like you transferred from, you didn't go from, you're back up at Harvard and or Princeton or something like that, and you transferred to Middle Tennessee State Junior College to play football. Like, you didn't make that transition. You went from Vanderbilt's a very respectable university, just like 99% of the NCAA transfers happen, but you happen to go to also a really good educational facility, Vanderbilt. So
yeah. So with that, Shaq, he is
I love Shaq, man. Always
speaking.
good for a soundbite, man.
yeah. Speaking of talking about, at the end of the day, it's about the foundation. That's basically what he's talking about. That's what the other head coach was talking about. There's foundations that you're missing because you're caught up in the flash. You got to pay attention to what's happening to most of the people that get caught up in the flash. That's why he came up with that saying, the flash in the pan, because you got caught up in the flash and you basically sizzled out.
Quick.
You sizzled out, fizzled out, however you want to put it. Bottom line, it happened. So
we got a new. I have something new we can call that. We call it the Brian Bosworth.
Okay, now you have to explain, because anybody that is not anywhere near our age may not necessarily, or not a Seattle Seahawks fan, may not know who that is.
Okay,
I remember the boss.
The thing is, the only thing that people got to go watch, and it is watch Brian Bosworth versus Bo Jackson, and that'll tell you everything you need to know about Brian Bosworth and everything that he is about, because he is the definition of overrated because of the bad competition he played. And then when he ran into somebody that was physically gifted, he lost, and he lost badly.
Okay.
He was a freak at Oklahoma. He was a freak because, but the Big 12, when he was playing, was not a juggernaut. You weren't afraid of the Big 12. You were afraid of a team every once in a while in the Big 12.
They weren't a juggernaut recently. But they had a team or two, but I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. Is that in Oklahoma, he made them good.
But yeah,
and then all the hype that went around him and everything like that, you would have thought he was the second coming of Jesus, and Bo Jackson ran him over at the goal line.
Yeah, one play from one,
and that ruined his whole
man.
Yeah, ruined. He never recovered from that.
The fans didn't let him recover.
Away his weapon, which was his mouth.
Yeah, the fans ain't gonna let you recover from that. It just,
you got to keep your head down and do the work first, and then, or if you're gonna have a mouth on you, go out and work on it.
If you're gonna have a mouth on you, you better be Deion Sanders. If you're anything less than Deion Sanders, it's not gonna end well for you. You can't be Terrell Owens. You can't be Chad Ochocinco.
Right.
You can't. You better have some championships to back that up, bro.
Well, it's not. So with Deion, it's less about Brian Bosworth Brian Bosworth was like trying to create the whole persona, and then hoped that he wouldn't get exposed. Deion, everybody layered that stuff on Deion, and he created that persona as it grew. Like, it grew as part of him. And it was, let's add this, let's add this, let's add this. And he just was crazy talented and just got better.
And he went through, and he was, and that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you can have a mouth, but your talent, you better show every moment, everything you do. And bottom line, at the end of the day, you don't have to like it, but you got to give him his respect.
I don't like Deion.
That was the only thing that made me respect him when I was younger, because I saw how talented he was. And I was like, he started being all flashy, and then he made the song "Must Be the Money," and I'm like, I'm looking at, but when
What
he
was
on that
that? What was that
football
again? Can you
field,
sing that
and
again for me? We're recording now, right? I think that is a sound bite.
I know, right? And
That's a
then
good one.
I'm telling my age on top of that. But whether it was baseball, whether it was football, you couldn't deny the man. Although I will say,
Yeah, he was not very good at baseball. Deion Sanders was a baseball player because he was fast and he could run bases. Other than that, he was
the
not good.
best.
He was not a good baseball.
The best.
He had a tool and he used it, and that was great. But
yeah, the best moment in football history for me, one of them, got to be in the top 10, was the Super Bowl with San Fran and the San Diego Chargers.
Okay.
Because Ronnie Harmon, he got Deion Sanders got an interception, and he was juking and jiving, and he was being Deion, and Ronnie Harmon came and leveled him.
Yes, he did.
And the only thing Deion could do, because Ronnie Harmon got up, and Ronnie Harmon was in his face, and he was talking that talk, but he had one trump card. He pointed at the scoreboard. It's like, yeah, you got me. That was cool, but I'm going home with the ring, bro.
And that's all well and good.
Your championship was you hitting me. My championship is going to be a ring, and the legacy is a part of the San Francisco 49ers.
I mean, it's the equivalent of going, well, I have the moral victory. It's like, well, that's great, but I'd rather have the money and the remembrance. All right, cool. But
right. Yeah, there are gonna be some people that especially the people that can't stand Deion, they remember that moment. They remembered and they reveled in that moment. And I just reveled in it because it was a heck of a hit. I was like, oh yeah.
Not liking Deion, for me, not liking Deion has very little to do with his on-field performance. Because there's not much to critique in his on-field performance. You either liked his style and liked the way he played and thought it was great, or you don't like his style and thought he was lucky and didn't get exposed when his technique maybe wasn't the best or his leverage wasn't the best, and you go in and you want to pick apart his things here and there. Okay,
he got exposed, but it was just by the best of the best.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And that was scary.
For me, it doesn't matter because he never played for a team that I liked. I always rooted against him because he never played for a team that I actually wanted to win. So I didn't really care what he did. Like, even when he played for the Reds, I was like, it was during a period in the time when the Reds weren't going to win anything. So it was, I don't care. Like, Deion, for me, I dislike Deion more for what he's doing to college football and the enormous impact that he is having for nepotism. Because without it, I think that without it, Shedeur Sanders doesn't make most college rosters, and he would be a different quarterback. I'm not saying he wouldn't develop into a quarterback that would have been a starter in the NCAA at the Division I level and eventually got drafted. I'm not saying that he didn't have the talent to get there. I'm saying he would be a much different looking quarterback because maybe he went through a different set of circumstances with different coaches that shaped him much differently than his father did. Good or bad, he would have been shaped way differently. I also think Travis Hunter would be a much more polished product as a two-way player. And you would have him being even better than he is now. Because he kind of got into that after Jackson, right? After Jackson State, he was at Jackson State with them, right? And then transferred to Buffalo or transferred to Colorado, right? Mm-hmm. Travis Hunter did. Mm-hmm. I think that had he spent time with a different head coach in college, and regardless of where it was, I think that had it not been such a family mentality, and he goes, "Oh, he's just another son of mine. I'm going to treat him." He got the family treatment, as it were. I think that Travis Hunter would be an even better player than he. I mean, you don't
I
get much
question-
better than going
I-
number 2 overall, right? Like, but I'm saying it would have been a slam dunk. He would have been a no doubter, no question asked.
I
Like,
question if
yeah.
he would have the one part where I push back, and we're gonna try to end this and move on to the next segment. Is I don't know if he would have gotten to actually play two-way, because like they've said, they've been talking about it the whole time. We've hardly seen it. So my question is he can't be the first one to come out. There was probably some others that did it in high school, probably wanted to do it when they came to college and got told no. And
Right.
Dion saw what he wanted to do, and he said yes. So my little pushback on that is we may not have gotten to see him two-way wise had he not followed Dion.
So here's the question, and you can take this and run with it if you want. But do you feel that if Travis Hunter went somewhere else and gotten a different coach got a hold of him, and he said, "Hey, we're gonna pick. You want to be offense, defense? Which side of the ball would he have gravitated towards, do you think? And would he be a top 5 all time at that position?"
I would, unfortunately, the reason why I would have a hard time answering that, I would need to watch every game, especially seeing that he played DB, which is what I played when I was coming up. And so I'm that type of person where if I don't watch much of you, then even if I get my opinion on it, I speak based upon my knowledge. So, and it wouldn't be fair for me, seeing that I only watched a couple of Colorado's games here and there. I think I may have watched 2 games in both years, that 2 games apiece, because I was mostly out working when they games came on. So and the games I did watch, I wasn't really watching. I was kind of Bluetoothing them to my car. So I was more or less listening to the commentators say what was going on. I didn't actually have a visual. So in terms of that, to be able to make that kind of hypothesis, just to be fair, and that's another reason why when I really speak on something, then that means that I'm gonna come with details that you're gonna know that I studied the situation. That's how I do. That way I can try to quiet that narrative of, oh, you didn't play on this level, you don't know. Well, you can't tell me about what I see. And I've been seeing it since 87. So around the time I was 10, I believe that's when the Washington and the Washington Redskins back then, when they beat the Broncos. I've been watching football since then. So and I may not have played on that level, but I did play in middle school. I did play in high school. It was only 1 year, but I'm also a person that listens and pays attention to stuff. That's how that's why when I critique a defensive end, I'm critiquing them based upon what I know that they're supposed to be doing. That's why when it comes to Ray Lewis and it comes to JJ Watt, they were fundamentally disciplined on top of their athleticism. They technically didn't do anything that every other linebacker, every other defensive end was supposed to be doing, was supposed to be playing like. But between their physical gifts and their fundamental discipline on what they're supposed to do, hey, I can't get to the quarterback, put your arms up. Try to block the pass. see if you could shove the lineman into the quarterback's view or into his throwing lane to throw off the pass. And then DBs, you be ready just in case you can get an interception, or you could back the ball down so we can get the ball back and win the game. Brian Urlacher, same thing. And it took me a while to like really figure that out and break that down. But at the end of the day, that's the honest to God truth. That's what makes them the elite. They're the most fundamental, to add with their physical and mental gifts and their love for the game, and you put that in a ball, and that's what you got. So but with that, we're gonna move on because I'm gonna try.
I still think he's a way better wide receiver than he is a defensive back, and I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be very happy with his offensive production and that part-time spell a DB and be a problem for crucial situations on defense.
That depends on that also depends on that offensive line, because Trevor Lawrence, I'm about to use that word again, he's line dependent. And
Trevor Lawrence is dependent on a lot of things, not just the line.
well, that year
Gotta have
that he had to show out year, that was their best line, and he showed out. So you can add whatever else to it, but that's the reason why it ain't been the same since then.
Yeah.
And he got the money because that line, he depended on that line. And I'm sure the coaches and the play calling and the whole, it's a pass friendly league, has something to do with it too, because that put too much pressure on him. And when you should be doing complimentary, look a little bit of run, a little bit of pass. The most successful teams in Jacksonville have had run game to complement the passing game, so that so that their quarterback wasn't always getting killed. And that's when they were their most successful. Yeah. When they were their least successful is when they try to go, I got Mark Brunell. I got what was that?
Blake Bortles?
No. Because when Blake Bortles got there, their line was crap. Because unfortunately, I didn't see every game that he played at UCF, but I saw that bowl game. That line looked good, and Blake Bortles looked good. So when he went to Jacksonville, I was like, oh man, you about to ruin a potentially good thing. That line is not gonna hold up so that he could do what he could do when he was in college. And it's sad to say that, but you watch enough years of watching QBs get, because even Mark Brunell got brutalized. Every time Fred Taylor got hurt, it was
Brunell got the crap kicked out of him quite a bit, but he was a good player. But I think you're talking about Byron Leftwich. I think is who you're talking.
Yeah, Byron Leftwich. He was another one, and he was a scrambling quarterback, and even he got killed.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Byron Leftwich, David Garrard, Lane Gabbert, they're all
victims of the offensive line, and I don't care what nobody say, that does affect you the longer you're there. You have to be a special kind of talent to be able to bring it around, to turn it around and end up after getting beat up for years.
Yeah. As long as Trevor Lawrence has a good hair day, I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, that's what the Jacksonville takes his that's what Jacksonville wants.
His headband has to be just right, and has to, like, you ever think like somebody comes over and fit, like, as he's taking his helmet off, they fix it and they go, okay, put your helmet back on, and we'll cut to you taking your helmet off. Because you ever take his helmet fully off? No, you like get him like halfway off. So I think they fix his headband. So when he takes it off, it's a plus commercial.
Bro, what are we doing? What are we doing? On to the next
Hey,
segment,
whoa,
daggone it.
what are
On
we
to
doing?
the
Making
next
fun of
segment.
Trevor Lawrence is
On
what I'm
to
doing.
the next segment. On to the next segment. All
I
right,
love
we really about to run through this because
I love
I'm not gonna be like the pundits. I'm not gonna spend like 20 minutes a person and basically saying the same thing for weeks.
We can. I'm really good
No,
at that.
no. We ain't gonna do that because here's the bottom line. We're gonna talk about the trades and what means what. I'm gonna save Trevor Hendrickson for last because Dan Orlovsky got me on one. So first
Danny.
Micah.
Uh-huh.
So first Micah.
Okay.
So do you think that he's gonna be a Cowboy, or do you think that he's gonna force Jerry to trade him because he's not gonna play week 1?
I think he's putting on his team, and I think he's gonna sit out for the rest of the year. He will not play another down for the Dallas Cowboys without a new contract. So if they keep him on this contract, he will sit out and not play at all.
And that will unless at least the coaches on the field are any good, that could bode bad to whatever potential
I think the
upswing that they had between Dak and CD and Pickens.
Now you hope if Micah Parsons goes off, right? And while okay, fine, he's not the offense wrecker that maybe some other players are in the league. He makes your defense better and competitive to the point that you don't have to score 60 points a game.
Yeah.
He keeps points off the board. He's not going to throw a shutout by himself, but he will help keep points off the board. So your other role players can step up and make plays when needed. The problem that they're going to run into now is that Dak Prescott has to engineer 45 to 54 points a game to win.
And that's not gonna that you can't put that all on
Good
Dak.
luck. I don't care. I don't care if you bring back the best players at every position and give them their prime, put them on Dallas this year without a defense to hold the other team. You can't just outscore people. I think that, and the same thing's going to be true with the Bengals. If they don't figure out a way to put a really competitive team. Now, if that requires you to have, and I know you didn't want to talk about him yet, and we'll get there, but it's the same problem. If you don't put Trey Hendrickson or somebody that is that level on the field to boost your defense and take points off the board, you can't rely on. I don't get me wrong. I think Joe Burrow is one of the best 3 quarterbacks in the league. I think that their offense is amazing, and they can average 38 points a week. I think they can score 38 a week. But when you're giving up 45, 47, 52 every week, I don't care if you score 38, you're going to lose.
Right.
And you go 500. So even if every once in a while your defense, stops them from scoring 42 and they only score 36 and you happen to score 38 that game, great.
Yeah.
Now you won 5 games. It's just too hard without a better than 500 defense, and Mike Parsons makes Dallas a better than 500 defense.
So Jerry Jones, I got a bad feeling that Jerry Jones is finally going to suffer the same fate that Belichick did when Tom Brady left. His ego is I mean, granted, technically they've been toe up for 30 years, but the fans have been speaking. And the last thing you're gonna want is a stadium in the billion dollar playpen every week where the fans are speaking. I get it, Jerry. You like the controversy. It works everywhere. I get it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if the controversy can't even lead you to a Super Bowl, is it really that much worth it? Are we talking money Super Bowl instead of NFL Super Bowl? What Super Bowl are we talking about making here? What conference championship are we talking about making? Do you and some other billionaire owners got some bets going on behind the scenes, and y'all having like a owners conference championship, and you're winning that? That's what it
Kind
comes
of
down
worst
to.
contracts in the NFL.
Yeah, now when it come to whose team is the most asset wise, like money wise, yeah, Jerry got the Super Bowl every year, but
Over $6 billion on the team valuation. Jerry, I think Jerry, the difference between Jerry and Bill Belichick is that Jerry Jones isn't the reason that the Cowboys won their Super Bowls.
true.
Jimmy Johnson and the team he put together and how they were coached and how they played won those Super Bowls.
Yeah,
Jerry Jones wants his own Super Bowl that he created, that he manufactured, that he made all the decisions for, made happen. Bill Belichick, he wanted to prove that he could do it. And while you can say, hey, you can't do it without Tom Brady, well, there's a lot of coaches that couldn't do it without Tom Brady too. So with Bill, it's more of a, hey, you finally got recognition that you knew what you were doing. You got the right guy in your system, and you showed that you get the right guy in your system and you can win whatever you want. And he took a 6th round evaluated talent, turned him into the greatest quarterback we've ever seen because of the system. And I'm not saying that Brady's a system quarterback. What I'm saying is that he was in that system, and Bill Belichick gave him all the advantages that he needed to win. And then Tom Brady took that, and he didn't rest on it. Tom Brady took that and said, okay, what do I need to do to not be the system quarterback?
he was naturally competitive anyway.
Done for, before, so that way when it comes to, well, and then you have that debate. Is it Brady? Is it Belichick? Which is making them win?
Right.
And so, it turned into later on, if Tom Brady didn't turn into the Tom Brady that he retired as, right?
Right.
And he stayed the system quarterback, they still would have won. Maybe they didn't win as many, but they still would have won multiple because his system was that good. And then Tom Brady got better and turned that system away from Bill Belichick's system into, well, we're going to run everything through Tom now because he is that good.
Yeah.
So, and that's just the change that happened.
At the end of the day, Micah, this.
You think he plays? You think he plays?
Two things can be true. Stats wise, he deserves the money.
Sure.
But
that's for next year.
For the same money, is he the level of some of the other defensive players that have gotten paid that he wants to get paid as much as? I'm sorry, the past few years, while he has stats-wise been great, he still has an issue when it comes to the run game. He's completely blockable.
Yes.
There's certain parts of the game where in certain parts of the season, the deeper it goes into the season, he disappears. But you won't Chris Jones, Myles Garrett, that basically you got to know where they are for 4 quarters. And if you and every time you forget, they gonna be there to remind you, hey, still here. I still want to eat. I still want to eat your quarterback and his family.
So yeah, I agree. So Myles Garrett. So if you look at Myles Garrett, Chris Jones, right? They don't just make your defense a little better than 500 like Micah Parsons does. they are the reason that your defense is a 7 and 5% or 750. It turns elite when you add those players. Your defense could be a 500 defense. You add a Myles Garrett, now you have an elite level defense. You add a Chris Jones, you have an elite level defense.
That's what I'm saying. It's and this kind of ties in. I'm about to do it too. This kind of ties in the Hendricks thing. You can say whatever about his stats. I will never deny his stats. I will never deny his talent. But please, let's not act like
he is not Myles Garrett.
He is not Myles Garrett. He is not Chris Jones. So when you decide that you want to stomp, when you decide that you want to just stomp your foot and go, you go do this for me and you go do it now. Chris Jones can do that. Myles Garrett can do that. Aiden Hutchinson could do that, because when Aiden Hutchinson went out, you could definitely tell the difference in the Lions defense. And yes, it definitely hurt with some of the other players that got hurt. Then they completely bottomed out. But at the end of the day, even with just Aiden Hutchinson out, you saw the change in the defense, that it wasn't as good with him in it. So
and for me, the with Aiden Hutchinson, it's a little different than it is with Myles Garrett and Chris Jones. And the reason is this, because he's a younger guy. He doesn't have as much proven in the NFL, but he gets attention like he already has that done. So regardless of if he's
because of the way he plays,
well, that's fine. But here's what I'm saying is, regardless if he turns into sub Micah Parsons or better than Chris Jones, he is doing the thing and that his team needs, which is, you got to draw attention to yourself. You got to give the other guys on our line who we went out and spent money on in free agency. Yeah, they didn't spend big money on it, but they spent money on that defensive line in free agency because they wanted a stout defensive line. They said, okay, we need guys that can play with independently of what happens with our quote unquote star. And I'm not saying anything about if he's good or bad. What I'm saying is that regardless of what he does, he's the star on the line, and he gets the attention, and deservedly so, but he gets the attention and allows his other defensive linemen to be really good. I think Aiden Hutchinson makes that team better because of the star power he has, not necessarily because of the stats he delivers.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, with Micah, the main thing that makes Jerry in the wrong is not some of the reasons that he's brought up as to why he doesn't want to pay him. It's, dude, the least you can do it to take some of the excuses off of you. Talk to the agent. Quit being so much of you that you that you act like you don't know who the guy is. But to some extent, I'm gonna be honest, he actually may not. That may not be bravado. He may actually not care because he's Jerry Jones. Let's not act like he ain't taken that attitude before and acted like somebody was beneath him. That's part of his. That's
Jerry Jones' MO, man. That's his
right. So that regardless,
Jerry Jones,
he needs to at least be, to take some of the heat off of him. He should have, when he said talk to my agent, okay, go talk to his agent. Say,
but
hey,
how did he say it? Micah Parsons didn't say, I'm not going to deal with you, go talk to my agent. He said, I'm not smart enough. I don't do these negotiations. That's not my job. My job is to play football. Go talk to my agent if you want to talk about extension or change of contracts or anything like that. That's what he does. That's what I pay for.
He said he was cool with the contract, but to talk to his agent.
Yeah, absolutely. He informed,
because he wanted to stay in Dallas. Just talk to my agent and we good. And that's where Jerry is wrong. And that's the only spot where Jerry is wrong. Him bringing up that Michael was hurt part of the year. Look at what just happened with Dak. Look at what just happened with Dak. That you cannot like him bringing it up, and that's fine. You have that right. But you're not putting out the money. Jerry is.
Right.
And anything else that he decided to bring up about his play and how and how effective it was in it. Like I just brought up to you, there have been over the past couple of years, no matter how good his stats look, here was one thing that got mentioned that these pundits, when it comes contract time, all of a sudden they get amnesia. There was talk about the later you go in the season, Micah kind of disappears. That's
Sure.
funny. When his time for a contract, ain't nobody brought that up. The fact that he can get lost when he can easily get lost in blocks in the running game. Again, nobody brings that up to be a valid point as to why there might be some hesitation on giving him big money.
Right.
It just the details are important. Yes, his stats say his stats say yes, you should pay him. But I understand where they're coming from, where they're going, yeah, we want to pay you, but and with the agent involved, you know, the agent is going to go for the gusto, and
Absolutely, that's his job.
And right, that's his job. Not going to knock him for it, and that could and that is more than likely the reason why Jerry's like, dude, we talked about this. You say you want to stay here. You say you good with it. Now his son saying what he said. It's not a good look. Don't. No. Talking about Micah's got to want to get no. As soon as you start talking to his agent, then it falls on Micah. Right now, you are the person with the quote unquote power. So you just look like a power hungry Hitler mistreating somebody. So get some of the heat off of you. Get the guy in the office with Micah and get it done.
Well, so this is the way I look at it. Mike Parsons, 26 years old.
Yeah.
Do you believe that he is worth the investment over the next 6 years? Right. So 1 this year and then an additional 5. Right. If you think he's worth a 5-year investment, and you look at his stats and you go, okay, well, I think that he's fallen off a little bit. You know, like you said, he disappears later in the season. Certain schemes, he's not where we want him. He's not doing what we want him to do. So, okay, what, you know, how much money is that worth? Whatever your deductions are, right? And you take him that 5-year deal and you say, hey, here's a 5-year deal. He wants 200 million plus, right? For 5 years, I think is what he wants, right? And it's like, okay, that's great. That's crazy numbers. That's Jamar Chase money, Myles Garrett money. Okay. If you believe that he can get to the point where he is that effective at changing the face of a game all by himself,
no,
or his presence, well, that's what I'm saying. As the Cowboys, if you believe that he can get there in that next 5 years, right?
No.
So you think you can mold him into that player, you offer him that contract. If you don't, then you say, okay, look, you know, because if you do that 5-year deal, you can give him a signing bonus that affects his money now. And so he has his contract money this year plus his bonus. And you can say, okay, hey, now you're going to be with the signing bonus and your cashier, you're going to make $250 million, right? Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever you need to do to make him whole, if you believe that he is as good as Myles Garrett.
No.
As a talent evaluator. If not, then you need to trade him yesterday. If you don't see him being the reason your defense is on you've listed as the top 3 defenses in the league, the way that Myles Garrett makes Cleveland much better, the way that Chris Jones makes Kansas City much better, if Micah Parsons doesn't do that for you, then you don't offer him the contract and you need to trade him because somebody believes in that. Somebody out there, there's probably more than half the owners out there that will work a trade with you.
Yeah, there's been some suggestions on where on some places for him to go.
Where would you if you could magically pick him up force a trade, and it'll be fair. Obviously, it'd be even and fair, and everybody would be whole. You're not screwing the team he's going to, and you're not screwing the Cowboys over. Where do you think a good fit for him would be?
You wouldn't be able to pull that off.
Because I have two locations I think he could go,
Okay.
but it would require a lot. Obviously, it's going to require a lot to trade. But
All right, I will let you get the last word on this, and then we're gonna move on to McLaurin, and then we're gonna really get to trade.
Excellent. So I think that he could go to Seattle, just because I think they have the ability to let him change the style of defense to allow him to be a little bit more free and a little bit more Micah Parsons, if that makes sense. So like he'll be himself, he'd be a little more comfortable. I think he might play a little better. I'm not saying he's game record material, but I am saying that he might play a little better. And the other would be San Francisco, just because I feel like they really can make defensive players just escalate really well.
With Robert Saleh, yeah, I know that they wouldn't be able to get back because what's left there on defense, they're not going to want to part with. And him going over with Robert Saleh, you've got me intrigued, my friend.
I think if he goes to San Francisco, he could. I think if he goes to San Francisco and has the kind of 1 year in San Francisco, shows that he's coachable, and not only coachable, but taking that defense from where it is to the next level because of his play, he could see his $200 million contract next year.
All right. Well, and with that, we're gonna move on to Terry McLaurin because because he also still doesn't have a contract yet, and bro. And the other thing about all these guys, let's just say that they stay with their teams.
Yeah.
Week 1, game better be on. Because you could come up, I get it. I get the details of why you sat out, but you better be ready week 1. Especially whether you get the contract or not. You better show up week 1 and show this is why you should have paid me. Or you show up week 1 and say, this is why you paid me. But you better show up week 1. Because that's crap. It is the starters don't really now that they've done things with the worried about the CTE and making sure that the league cares about the players. Now the players don't do a whole lot to get in. Don't do a whole lot to make sure that they ready for hitting week 1. So basically, you got to go through the season, get used to that, and it's not pretty. So, and obviously the more successful teams are going to be more successful in getting the kinks out quicker than a lot of the other teams. Would you agree?
100%.
Okay. So Terry McLaurin, I looked at his stats. His stats are freaking phenomenal. But he definitely deserves some money. And I got a feeling that the reason why that came out, why this has come up, is because there was 2 teams that had a whole lot of money in salary cap. One was the Patriots, which they went balls to the wall.
Yeah.
And there was the Commanders. And I'm not going to get into this dumb debate. His stats prove he deserves the money.
Sort of.
His stats prove it. So, well, I mean, you go from
he doesn't deserve. Okay, so I'm not saying that he doesn't have great stats. I'm not saying that he is not worth an investment, because he absolutely is. He has proven above all else that he is consistent. He's gonna show up year in, year out, give you 1,000 yards. Great. That's awesome. That's wonderful. I appreciate that. That's great. He's going into his 7th year, right? Mr. Consistency, I would say, on yardage, over 1,000 yards, right?
Yeah.
TD wise, though,
Okay, I see what you're
very
saying.
much lacking. Scoring.
Well, yeah,
Because
let's
at the end of the game,
let's remember
by 21, and there's 10 minutes left in the 4th quarter. All they're doing is throwing the ball, and if you're the only target, well, yeah, of course you're going to collect 150 yards receiving, but you're not getting into the end zone. You're not breaking coverage, and it could be on the quarterback. Absolutely, they had.
it was on more than the quarterback.
Absolutely, but again,
it was on more than the quarterback. It was on the front office. It was on I'm guessing the scouts and the offensive line and everything because as soon as they cleaned house, and the new people brought in new people, and they ended up drafting and they ended up drafting Jaden, and they ended up getting Clint Kingsbury.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you got 13 touchdowns. So it had the front office not been like a dumpster fires like creator. One could question if them other years, if they had a better line and a better quarterback play, if those numbers could have clearly been better.
That's fine. Now here's the question: is Terry McLaurin the reason? So his yardage indicative of being the only one there to catch the damn ball, but his touchdowns are indicative of him not being able to get open or deep passes, so he's not a deep threat? Or is his yardage because he's getting open, and his lack of touchdowns is because when he gets open on deep routes, they can't throw the ball to him? I don't know. And that's your thing. Does his stats, can other players achieve his stats?
Depending on who that person is, because there was a lot of people that felt like
are there any if you're the Commanders and you look at it and you say, okay, we have Jaden Daniels, great play. He's going to pass the ball really well. He's going to be a great quarterback
as long as you protect him. Go ahead.
He can. Well, that's fine. We're going to get past that. All you're dealing with is wide receivers. If when he drops back and he throws the ball, does it matter who's catching it? Because Jaden Daniels will throw such a great ball that anybody can be successful. It doesn't matter who we bring in.
If they could somehow get around this, it's about to get real ugly in Washington. Because if Debo can show up as 80% of what he was, is 90% of what he was in San Fran,
I still don't think that he's nearly
they gonna have a problem, because he can kill you catching out of the backfield. He can kill you doing special running back plays out of the backfield. Sure. If you put him on the other side as a wide receiver, you can't double tear it. I'm pretty sure that the touchdown stats that you're looking at was not just the fact that Washington was a dumpster fire, but he was the most talented wide receiver they had, so it was easy to double. On top of sacking their quarterback so that he never got the ball, so that he rarely got the ball for a touchdown.
But so this is where the question comes in: is he the fundamental reason that Washington's going to be good this year? Is he the reason? Is Terry McLaurin on the field the reason that the Washington Commanders will go from 500 to winning the division?
Winning the division is a bit much. Wild card game, I'll give you.
What I'm saying is, if you're the GM of Washington, and your option going into the season and for the next 5 years after this, is I can play wide receiver roulette and spin the wheel every year on whoever might be available as a free agent, reclamation project like Deebo Samuel, or hope I can draft it as well and get somebody the quality of Terry McLaurin. I think the answer is Washington has to pay him. He's not going to get Jamar Chase money because he's not Jamar Chase level.
Well,
to get paid.
He definitely wants at least as much as DK Metcalf, but the only problem with that is after Russell Wilson left, DK wasn't DK.
DK Metcalf for me,
and actually one could argue Russell's last years there where he spent a lot of time on his back and running for his life. DK couldn't be DK. DK still has talent. Like if I were to field a team and just make you want to fear for your life, even though I feel he has tendencies to be a head case, I would love to see what it would look like to put DK on one side, put AJ Brown on another, and say, okay, all right, come at me, bro.
I'm gonna let DK Metcalf run free because I don't believe that he's nearly as talented.
And they would they would end up suffering for that mistake. They didn't do it in Seattle. They didn't do it in Seattle even after the Legion of Boom imploded. They still doubled him. So I don't agree with that. So
in 6 years, he has a little over 6,300 yards. He only eclipsed 1,000 yards receiving 3 times. DK Metcalf is not as good or as consistent as Terry McLaurin. I would rather have Terry McLaurin and pay him the money than DK Metcalf.
Yeah, but he also wasn't the only person getting the ball in Seattle.
He had different problems, but he still had problems in the team. Washington, he didn't have anybody that could throw him the ball, and DK Metcalf had a problem with not being number one wide receiver.
Well, there was times he was open, but pressure was busting Gino's pipes. So
okay.
So that's I already know what a lot of that was about when they started playing.
I still don't see the path where you pay DK Metcalf more money than you pay Terry McLaurin. If I was starting a new team, and like the amount of money that I wouldn't spend on wide receivers would be as crazy as the amount of money that I would spend on quarterbacks. But because I believe that quarterbacks are way more important than wide receivers, because a good quarterback can make a mediocre wide receiver much better than a great wide receiver can make a mediocre quarterback better. And it's for this reason right here, because look at and here's what I'll tell you.
Terry McLaurin's numbers disprove that. There's no way you're gonna say with Terry McLaurin's numbers that there was
has touchdowns.
Huh?
He got himself a good quarterback and he got touchdowns. His quarterback made him better because he got touchdowns.
Not really.
How many touchdowns did Terry McLaurin had as many touchdowns his 5 seasons combined almost as he did his last season. He had 13 touchdowns last year. In his first 5 years, his first 4 years, he might have had 13 total.
First 3.
And Terry McLaurin. Yeah.
Yeah. First 3.
7, 4, and 3 or something like that.
7, 4, 5, 5, 4.
There you go. Okay.
But
that's not a good wide receiver. That's if you want to make a quarterback that makes a wide receiver better, the touchdowns are where that is.
Then no, it's not.
Yeah.
Tom Brady is one of the best quarterbacks, bro. Come on. Okay. Come on. That's my boy. Let's call a spade a spade.
Okay.
That's my boy. He wasn't always he wasn't always getting the ball in the end zone to wide receivers to win the game. Come on. Come on.
Name
Come
me.
on.
Okay, hold on. How many touchdowns did Randy Moss have?
In New England?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
You want, if you just want stats, yardage, you could put Andy Dalton with Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase will have 1,000 yards every single year. Promise. Because Andy Dalton can't outthrow coverage. You put a quarterback that can outthrow coverage and allow that wide receiver to beat their coverage, like Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase, like a like Jaden Daniels to Terry McLaurin. You have the touchdowns to show it.
His first year, he didn't play that many games. He ended up with 3. The rest of the seasons where he played all the games. Where he played all the games.
Okay.
His last year he had 23. His
23
second year,
touchdowns.
his second year he had 11. The second, sorry, his third year he had 11. Did he start all those games? Why can't I see it?
So the best quarterback threw 23 touchdowns to his number one wide receiver
in one season, but
Yeah.
he also threw
Okay.
13 and 11 between a piece between the other seasons.
Okay.
So and now give me a somebody not named Randy Moss that was on that played on that played under him during when Randy was there, or if you really want to make it fun, before Randy was there, let's go to the first 3 Super Bowls.
Okay.
And see what the wide receiver touchdowns were looking like. Again, I love Tom to death, but let's call a spade a spade. Pulling out Randy Moss when Randy Moss was proven that if you get him with a good quarterback, he gonna get in the end zone. Now give me some of the other ones that were there.
Some of the other ones that weren't clear-cut number one wide receivers, and they're slot receivers
or tight ends.
We're talking number one wide receivers. Tom Brady used slot receivers all day long. Danny Amendola, Wes Welker, and
Damian Amendola spent
not a single one of them.
He spent most of every year hurt.
What's that?
He spent most of every year hurt.
Who?
Amendola.
That's fine, but he was still on the team. None of them are a number one wide receiver. Not a single one of them was a number one wide receiver. Gronkowski got more touchdowns and more passes than probably anybody else that wasn't named Randy Moss on that team. And actually, he probably did catch more passes than Randy Moss because he spent more time with him.
Over time, yeah.
So,
I mean,
a player like Terry McLaurin, who with a good quarterback, is worth more money than a reclamation project, because you're not going to see a guy like Terry McLaurin show back up. He's worth the raise. A good quarterback comes along, and you can use them to exploit.
And I'm not saying that he shouldn't get his money. I feel like he should get his money. It's just unfortunate on his timing, because they have the opportunity. They had everything taken care of with the draft. They looked like they was about to go in, everything firing, and then he comes out of the woodwork wanting more money.
I mean, I'm of the opinion that if you are under a contract, you play for that money on that contract. Then when that expires, you can go get a new one.
Yeah,
I have no,
but unfortunately, because of some of the points that Stephen A brought up, and then we're going to move on to Trey. because I want to get him. I want to get in my last two. I definitely want to get in my last two segments.
Oh yeah.
Stephen A. did bring up a good point because all details are important. He brought up the fact that a lot of times owners will come to players and get them to restructure. Well, here's the thing. If are these the teams that are losing or the teams that are winning? Because I know Tom and Peyton volunteered to do it. And that was another reason why they were able to bring in the players that they brought in, and some luck from some from some teams that didn't do very smart things, or teams that were getting rid of head cases, depending on depending on depending on the name, depends on who I'm talking about. So
too many of them to count is the problem.
Right. But bottom line, the winning teams did the most restructuring. Their scouting departments did a great job, and so that they were able to move off players like everybody, like the losing teams, they get vilified for it, and yet they knew, because of the way they draft and the way they do free agency, they weren't too worried because they knew what they had. That's why they let the person that was wanting the bag go in the first place. It's harder to let somebody go when you know ain't nothing coming up behind them. They would have, Kansas City, I'm sure, would have loved to have parted ways with Chris Jones. That's why they waited until the season started to have to paint, because they got on the field, they saw what it looked like, they said, "Oh no, no,
Yeah.
we ain't doing that."
I agree.
So let's go. I'm sorry, we undervalued you. Please, here's your money. Please hurry up and save our defense. And when you got to double and triple that guy, then it's like, okay, other guys, he's getting doubled and tripled. Y'all ain't got no excuse. There's quarterback right there. There's the running back right there. Let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do believe, I wish for the sake of the Commanders and everything that it turned around, I wish he would have waited. I got no beef with him wanting his money. Looking at his stats,
Sure.
he definitely deserves his money, and he will be an asset to Jayton, because it's one thing when you know who you got to depend on, and that's important to a quarterback, because they got so much to do once that ball is hyped. They gotta try to feel if a defensive guy is coming on them. They gotta depending on how tall they are, they got to try to look over the defense to see who they gonna pass it to. Make sure that they're not getting ready to pass it into a turnover or a drop pass.
Are you referring to Super Mario Murray out in Arizona?
What?
You're referring to Super Mario Murray out and he has to jump to see over the line out in Arizona?
No. Quit trying to take shots. I'm being serious.
What?
I'm talking about the mindset of everything that has to go through the quarterback's mind as soon as that ball is hyped. He's got a lot of things to think through, and he ain't got time. He got to go 1,000, 1,000, and he has to look in all these directions so that he can make the best play. At best, he better not take longer than 3 seconds.
Well, so if you're going to look and go, the peace of mind that comes along with having a true number one wide receiver that can deliver, like Terry McLaurin has shown that he can deliver 1,000 yards receiving. He's shown that he can score touchdowns for you now. Last season, he showed he could catch the ball for 6 straight years.
Yeah.
And then last year he showed, okay, now I'm an offensive weapon because I can score. Okay, great.
Because my quarterback can stay upright and he's not nervous that he's about to take a hit, so he's actually focusing downfield. Yeah,
right. That's a different offense, though. You're moving off of wide receivers being weapons and you're moving it into offense. Stick with just a wide receiver and go, okay, does this wide receiver provide my quarterback with confidence, with the ability and knowledge of the offense, so he's an asset? Plain and simple. Yes or no questions. and you can rate it from a 1
No,
to
it's not that simple.
that he is a 9 on the scale on that scale, whereas a player like Deebo Samuel is like a 6 to a 7. So he's worth money. He needs to get paid. I just think he needs to get paid next year after he plays this year under his contract.
And that would be nice if it wasn't allowed, that he doesn't have to. And that's what we're looking at. He doesn't have to if he don't want to. And since they made that an option, then I get trying to separate the details, but it's all a part of the offense. Because if especially in terms of quarterback trust, if he don't trust his line, he's going to be focused more on being worried about the hit, and he's going to over rush, which means that he may take more of the check downs than trying to get Terry the ball like they had to in previous years with the line and the hot mess that they had going on in Washington. So I get trying to separate it, but at the end of the day, the big picture, and yes, that's a part of it. And yes, the quarterback has to trust to his receiver, but he also has to trust his line to give him time so that he can focus on this receiver. And it's so it all meshes into one great big picture that comes out beautiful when it works. And it came out the most beautiful between yardage and touchdowns last year. They upgraded the offensive line, they upgraded the offensive coordinator, and then they drafted somebody that is focused on being the best quarterback that he can be, to the point to where he's doing all types of computer stuff, doing all types of simulations, going through all this, and he's showing all kinds of poise that shocked everybody. He's like, how is this dude so poised? He just got into the NFL today. What's going on? Preparation. This is why preparation or fundamentals is better than flash, because when you have the fundamentals and you're better at the fundamentals and less worried about the flash, you're a Jaden Daniels. When you're more worried about the flash, you're a Johnny Manziel. Talented, where's it going to go?
Right. So, but the point that I was bringing back to is that your faith in Terry McLaurin catching the ball has nothing to do with the offensive line. His ability to get open, to run his route, to make the cuts and catch the ball have nothing to do with your offensive line. And his money should not be impacted by how well or how badly that offensive line is running.
And I'm not saying that it should. You're taking something and saying something I'm completely not saying. If you could trust your wide receiver,
yeah,
but if you worried about getting hit, you're not thinking about your wide receiver the ball. So like I said, it all encompasses. I know we're talking about him. I'm not saying that has to equate to what you pay him. His stats and his ability to be good when he gets the ball is what should get him paid.
Right.
But if the quarterback can't get him the ball, how many times have we seen that somebody coming out of college, we knew how great they were going to be, but it ended up being a whole lot of nothing? Even the great Drew Brees, how did he look in San Diego?
He got injured. He had a shoulder.
Yeah, why did he get injured? He got injured because the lines that he had in college weren't even remotely close to what he had. So he spent a lot more time on his back, and he spent a lot more time on his back and taking hits and taking slaps, and he ended up hurt. You take him out of San Diego, you put him with the Saints, you give him Sean Payton, they improve their offensive line, they get him some pretty good weapons, and all of a sudden you saw the Drew Brees that was there. That's what I'm talking about. Because you can have a Randy Moss, you can have a Devontae. That don't mean you winning, even if you are able to get him the ball. Don't believe me? Ask the Raiders. Now, I won't include Randy in that because he flat out refused to play, but I will include Devontae Adams in that because no matter who was in that back, taking hits, spending a lot of time on their back, he somehow managed to still get 1,000-yard seasons, which speaks to what you were talking about. That level of effectiveness, no matter what. But for the most part, that's small. That ends up being statistically small numbers because everybody ain't gonna be able to do that. And it also depends on the level of players the level of players you got, the chemistry and all that. It all factors in.
Yeah.
Now, should that have anything to do with how they personally get paid? Nope, never said it. We were just talking about the quarterback, and we were talking about the quarterback and how that encompasses that relationship. Part of that relationship is like hooking up with a new girlfriend that's got kids. Yeah, she gonna focus on you, but she also got to focus on what's in front of her. And so she got to focus on what's in front of her too. And if she having a hard time focusing on both, maybe the kids don't necessarily like the new boyfriend. So they behavior going downhill through the roof.
Sure.
Is that relationship gonna work out? Don't know.
Well, here's
if she got a toxic boyfriend, yeah, they gonna stick around together for a long time, and it's gonna be a complete crap show. To put it appropriately for the sake of the show, but
try to keep it PG. Got it.
Right. So as much as possible, anyway. There's gonna be slip ups. At the end of the day, I want everybody to be able to watch my show. So yeah, and I'll let you have one more word, and we got to get the track.
It's just the Drew Brees thing. You went from the Chargers, who had one of the best running backs in the history of the game in LaDainian Tomlinson, to a pass-heavy, garbage heap running back in New Orleans when Drew Brees was there. So,
and it was also it had also turned into a passer-friendly league. They had some decent running backs. Because I'm sorry, Deuce McAllister is not a garbage running back. Reggie Bush, yes. Reggie Bush was not what he was cracked up to be, and the infamous Skip Bayless, for all his times that people want to smack all Jesus out of him for his takes, he clearly called it out, and everybody called him a hater. And then Reggie got in the league and didn't score a touchdown till week 11, and it wasn't even a rushing touchdown. I believe it was either a kick or a punt return. So yeah.
Whoever was in Philly, who was the Philadelphia safety who just absolutely annihilated him in the backfield. That was the best Reggie Bush highlight ever.
All right. So now we're gonna move on to Trey. Because the reason why I said that Dan Orlovsky had me on one is because he literally said that the reason why the Bengals, even though he admitted that even though Trey was there last year and he didn't do much to help the defense in a positive direction, despite his stats, he then turned around and said, but the Bengals got to sign him, and I believe they can win the Super Bowl. I'm like, wait, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me get this straight. You admit that him playing at his A game wasn't enough to help bring up the defense, right? But then you turn around and say you gotta sign him, and you believe the Bengals gonna make it to the Super Bowl this year?
Okay. And who was your source on that again?
Dan Orlovsky.
That was.
But still, Dan Orlovsky. Okay. But still, I'm like, what?
A few things wrong. All right. Let's go with the first and foremost, biggest thing he has wrong, and the fact that the defense isn't the reason the Bengals are going to make the Super Bowl. It's going to be the offense. The offense is the reason the Bengals make the Super Bowl. The defense is along for the ride to make sure that they only let so many hitchhikers on. It's not that they're not going to let any hitchhikers on. They're going to make sure they're going to limit the number that get in. Okay, it's like
You hope.
the defense is prison guards. They have 100. They have 100 prisoners in the yard. They're gonna let less than half out. That's all the defense needs to do.
You hope.
And Trey Hendrickson playing at his top end helps that out a lot.
It does not.
Yeah, the sacks help out a lot. It changes the way, just like it's just like the Aiden Hutchinson thing. While maybe
It's not even close.
Listen. It's his name and that he is on the field that causes attention.
No. That's what you're not gonna do. That's what.
Listen. This is the reason why. That's the only reason the Bengals have to sign him. The Bengals don't
Oh my God.
need.
I can't believe I'm hearing this.
Hold on. The Bengals don't need to sign him. The Bengals don't need that. The Bengals need a player that is going to impact the game. They need to take that money that Trey Hendrickson's demanding and spend them on a player that's actually going to have an impact. As opposed
Multiple players, actually.
Hold on. As opposed to so if you take a Aiden Hutchinson who has both that star power and that playmaker, right? Aiden Hutchinson's both, right?
Mm-hmm.
You leave him alone, he's going to make a massive impact. You double team him, he's still going to make an impact because of his star power. You pick one. You're either going to let the other talented players on the Detroit line beat you, roll your dice with them. They're still getting paid. They're still good players. They might not be the star level that Aiden Hutchinson is, but they're still really good players. Or you go, all right, we're just going to play it straight up, and whoever beats us, and then you let Aiden Hutchinson own your backfield for the entire hour you're on the field. Like, it's one or the other. That is what the Bengals need. Bengals don't need Trey Hendrickson. They need a player that is going to make an impact. I don't care if he has 15 sacks or if he has 4. He makes an impact that draws the offense's attention, that allows the other players that are on that line, that are your linebackers, to make the plays one-on-one. That is what the Bengals need. Trey Hendrickson does not do that.
Not alone. Now, when Sam Hubbard was Sam Hubbard, Trey was able to do his thing.
Because Sam Hubbard was the guy that they were keying on.
Right.
Sam Hubbard was great in space. Sam Hubbard was great off tackle. He was great off of a block. He was great at plugging. And it allowed and they said, oh, we got to move over here. It's the same reason a guy like DJ Reader, right? I believe that. I believe DJ went to Detroit. Right? I believe he went to Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
So same reason that he had a career year playing with Aiden Hutchinson. Hutchinson, they said, oh, Aiden Hutchinson's over here. We got it. Crap. There goes DJ Reader. That's the point.
Right. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to disrespect him because he is a great player. But
have somebody else to take the spotlight off of him. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like in baseball when you have an amazing closer on a league. It's a commodity and a luxury that you can't afford to have.
Right.
He gets more for you in a trade. You get more value out of a trade than you do signing him. Like, I'm sorry, you really do. And you don't need to spend that kind of cap. You've already spent your cap. You know where you are all in on offense. You need to be more meticulous on defense.
Yeah.
You need to take that money and find those value guys that still have some left in the tank, understand what you're trying to do, and you can now have a better rotation up front for your defensive end, for your
And
line. You can get
and they
better
could
linebacker.
do that.
You have the ability to change your defensive scheme now.
And they could do that once everybody starts filtering out everything after the preseason.
Yeah. I mean,
So I totally get why the Bengals aren't. Hopefully, they're thinking the way I'm thinking. I'm trying to put faith in them. See, I'm a fair guy. I'm trying to put faith in them,
stop putting faith in Mike Brown.
and I'm trying to put some faith in them that they got some sense that they start watching everybody getting cut, and they go, hey, why don't we grab that one over there, grab that one over there, and hopefully
what fits where. Because here's the thing: is good players get cut off of teams just because they don't fit the system.
right? Their attitude, they don't fit the system, or they just weren't what they thought they were.
Yeah, if you're a middle linebacker trying to play a 3-4 and you don't know how to play left middle linebacker, you're going to get cut. Well, you come to a team that plays a 4-3. Well, you know how to play middle linebacker. You're probably pretty good. You know what you're doing. But in a situation where you're going to succeed, the Bengals can be one of those places that a defensive end who maybe is just a run, maybe he's just a run stopper. Maybe he's just fast enough to edge rush and contain. Maybe he's a great contain guy.
All right.
Well, if we flush him your way, we know that side's contained. Awesome.
All right. So with that, hopefully the Bengals can figure it out, because at the end of the day, and hopefully Mr. Golden is able to figure out what he has that's good there, what needs to be changed, and they can do some swaps and some filtering in and filtering out, and hopefully they can. I would actually, honestly, I'm from Cincinnati. I would actually like to see them not only go to a Super Bowl during my lifetime, but I want to see them win one. So, and I don't want it to end up like the one situation with the one reporter that was the Bills fan that we watched, and he ended up dying before they won one. So now his son is trying to take the torch and go, well, now I hope I'm alive when the Bills win one. I don't want that for the Bengals. No team that has fans should have to say things like that. None of them. Not the Cowboys, not the Bengals, nobody.
Is that if they, and it's just because of the being a lifelong resident of Cincinnati and Hamilton County, is I hope that Mike Brown is no longer anywhere near or affiliated with the team when they do win one, because I don't want him to have the satisfaction of actually winning one of what he's done to the city, to the taxpayers and everything else. I think he's not a very nice man. We'll go with that.
Well, yeah, business tends to bring out the piranha in people more than the goldfish.
Yeah, but bad.
So yeah. I get it. And with that, we're gonna move on to baseball.
Love baseball.
I decided to do the power rankings. You give me your opinion. I don't know how much baseball you've been watching. I haven't watched baseball in a couple of months, and that actually upsets me, because I would like to be more up to date on it anyway. So I'm gonna give you the top. We'll go with the top 10, and you give me your opinion on it. I'll piggyback if I can. So number one is the Milwaukee Brewers.
Absolutely. I've had a chance to watch them play a few times. They are definitely as advertised. They are a complete team.
Yeah, the Philadelphia Phillies are number two. They're
okay. The problem with the Phillies that I have is I feel like when they get into a groove, they can get like when the Phillies get into a groove and they're playing really well, and then they settle into that groove where it's like, wow, we're really, really consistent. They get complacent, and then they kind of jump out of the track for a minute, and they have that hiccup or that hiccup series where you're like, they shouldn't have lost 3-4 to the Marlins. They shouldn't have dropped those games. And I feel like the Phillies, that's where the Phillies are. So if they have a late hiccup game, like a late hiccup series, they could be really, really dangerous in the playoffs.
Yeah, the thing that I feel like with these teams, and it would be great if I got to watch some more. I'm going to try to, because apparently mysteriously after that deal, now all of a sudden baseball is getting more games on ESPN. Did you notice that?
I think ESPN went, we need to get audience.
Well, that and Manfred was baseball commissioner was calling them out, and it seemed like a couple months after that, all of a sudden they was in talks, and because they were only doing like Saturday night. Now apparently they're doing
They used to have baseball on 4 nights a week on ESPN.
right, and that's what they used to do. And something happened, and something made it drop off, and but
game made it drop off. The ESPN went away from all of its traditional programming, trying to get new fans and blow new sports up. So because what's the complaint from a lot of younger people is, I don't care about baseball. I don't care about, baseball's boring, right? That's the complaint about young people in their 20s. So ESPN went, oh, okay, great. We're gonna abandon the baseball, and we're gonna in favor of the WNBA. We're in favor of this programming or that programming, and ESPN rolled the dice and said, hey, we're gonna try this. It didn't work, I don't think, very well. I don't know the numbers for the WNBA ratings wise.
They shut up best when Caitlin showed up, and whenever she's actually not hurt.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So it kind of paid off a little bit for him, but I feel like if you just turn it into the Caitlin Clark show and you just say, hey, we're only going to broadcast Caitlin Clark games, you'll get the same amount of response. Because I mean, how many times are you going to be tuning into the WNBA on ESPN in prime time on a Wednesday night to watch LA versus Washington?
I actually did watch I watched a couple of games. They
46-week schedule. How many times on a Wednesday night are you're like, hey, I got to make sure I'm watching that? Or is it, it happens to be on, so I'll leave it on because I just like watching sports?
If I can find it, I'll watch it. Just like with the NCAA girls, if I can find it, I'll throw it on. But that's me.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm one person.
Right. There's wrong with women's sports. What I am saying is that if you're going to go after the largest demographics of people, which ESPN should be doing because they're a business,
right?
The most people that consume the most things, and I would struggle to believe that a random Tuesday night WNBA game that doesn't involve Caitlin Clark brings in a bigger ratings draw than a divisional opponent, a divisional game between Philly and New York. I struggle to believe that. But it's not the WNBA's fault by any stretch. It's ESPN's problem. But
yeah. No. A lot of it is their fault because of their inability to or unwillingness, whichever one it is, or a combination of the two, because they marketed the WNBA a lot more at the beginning than they did as years went on. So but to finish going through the list, I believe I stopped at the Blue Jays. Number 4 is the Dodgers.
You have the Blue Jays as 3, Dodgers as 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't article on ESPN ranked them in week 20.
Yeah.
So
that with the Blue Jays making the trades that they made, Shane Bieber coming back off the DL for the Blue Jays, traded him from the Guardians. I think he's going to make a real nice impact and make their rotation even stronger going into the playoffs. They'll stick with a 5-man as opposed to a 6, but they're going to move a a bona fide starter from their rotation into their bullpen, giving their bullpen a lot of depth. So if your starter gives up 4 earned runs in the first inning, you can bring a long guy to finish out that game, and you're not taxing your bullpen very much. With the Dodgers losing Ohtani's ability to pitch, even though he's only pitching 3 to 4 innings at a time, every fifth day, every sixth day, it's still 8 some innings. It still gave you a little bit of relief, and he still was working his way back to the point where when they made the playoffs, he probably would have been able to pitch a full 7 innings in a game going into the playoffs. So losing that definitely hurts. I don't think it ends their season or their playoff hopes or their World Series aspirations, because they are going to get their big money starters back. But yeah.
So, and what do you think of Eric Lauer for the Blue Jays?
He is. He's their guy. The big thing about the Blue Jays and how that works is when you have hold on, let me pull that up. I realized we were getting into actual player or actual personnel.
Right.
So we were talking about teams overall.
My bad. Well, since you mentioned Shane Bieber, that's the only reason I mentioned him.
Yeah. Good. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about the rotation. I followed Shane Bieber because he was on the DL for almost the entire year. He was on the 60-day DL. I think he made 1, maybe 2 starts.
Yeah.
For the Guardians, and then went on the DL. And then he got traded. That's the only reason that I came up. Eric Lauer, I mean, 8 wins. I mean, he's a good pitcher, and he's definitely part of the reason that they're where they are. He's not, it's not like when you look at the Reds rotation where you're like, ooh, okay, which one's a bigger problem child? Like children, which one's the biggest problem child? So I think that's the key for Toronto and their rotation is the fact that they don't have any problem children. They have a solid rotation.
Gotcha. So number 4 was the Dodgers. Number 5 is Tigers.
Best team in the AL, man. They're I mean, Javi Baez is finally living up to his contract.
Nice, isn't it?
It's crazy that it took this long for him to do that, but I'm glad for the Tigers are one of those teams that never bothered me winning. I always liked Miguel Cabrera. I always liked Brad Ausmus was a nice player for him as well. And that's a team that never bothered me winning. Like hearing them be successful doesn't bother me at all. It's not like Yankees,
Right. Well, it will make you happy to know that we're only going through the top 10, and they are not in the top 10. So, you got number 6 with the Seattle Mariners. You got number 7 with the Chicago Cubs. Apparently, they fell down. Apparently they fell down 4 from ranking of 3 to ranking of 7.
The problem that I have with the Cubs is that while they are a good team, they're young.
Mm-hmm.
Real young. Their best player is rookie. And Pete Crow Armstrong. Like, amazing player, and he's only going to get better, and they're only going to see the upside to him. The issue is going into the playoffs is they're not even the second best put together team in their division, let alone the 8th best team in Major League Baseball. So I don't like it, but I understand why. They're a very hot, flashy team that is on a roll, but don't. I see them being a lot like the Reds if they make it to the playoffs, where it's not going to amount to much, unfortunately.
Um, so let's see here. I ended with the Cubs.
Yep.
The Padres didn't move. They were eighth. They're still eighth. And the Houston Astros are ninth, and the Boston Red Sox are number 10.
The Boston Red Sox are the little engine that never stopped trying and drank a lot of beer and came out and threw. Boston, I put Boston or Yankees same team. There's different cities. It's just a matter of which one do you like less. For me, less than I like the Red Sox, but I still don't like the Red Sox. That doesn't mean that they're not a really good team.
Right.
I think that they are. I don't think Detroit can win the World Series. I do think Boston, because I think you just don't know where Detroit is. It's hard to be that consistent. Whereas Boston seems to start getting hot. They're starting to get hot at the right time. So I think that might carry. That can carry Boston to win in the World Series. I can definitely see them getting there. Knocking off Detroit to get there too. So where do they have the Yankees? Please tell me it's like 15th.
Oh man. Oh wait. Nope, wrong one.
You just refresh it. They're like, oh, he's talking to Drew. We got to put the
No, they are 12th.
12.
They haven't moved from 12.
Okay, who's 11?
Mets.
That's I don't care where they can put the Mets when they're never going to win a World Series again.
The Reds went up one. They're 13th.
Ran by children. So
yeah. The Reds are up one from 14. They're 13th.
Okay. I mean, as long as you don't rely on Ellie's defense, you're in good shape in Cincinnati. They have a nice, strong team. I think their pitching questions are being, but not the way that a traditional team needs them. They have to mix and match some stuff. I think their platoon in the outfield needs to get figured out. You're either going to keep Jake Fraley in left field, or you're going to put in Will Benson. Right now, Will Benson is up and Fraley is down in AAA. You got to pick one and go with it, and that's your everyday lineup. Because guys like Ke'Bryan Hayes, while maybe not the best bat in your lineup, needs to be in there every day for his defense. He's a great player, amazing defensive player. He is a plus WAR on defense. Absolutely needs to be in there 100% of the time. Makes plays that we don't have another player on our team that can make that play that Ke'Bryan Hayes can make. But the lineup suffers when you have inconsistency in the outfield. So, you have Austin Hayes, who is a streaky hitter. When he hits a lot.
Yeah.
He doesn't. It takes a long time for him to heat back up. Matt McLean is in a platoon again with 3 or 4 other guys, and it's just like this. You need a consistent lineup when you put it out there. You have an embarrassment of riches on defense if you're the Reds, but a shortage of offense when it comes down to it. They win some timely games. They just came off of a brutal series against the Brewers where they lost 2 of 3. They're still the only team that have yet to be swept this season. There's a good stat for you. The Reds are the only MLB team who have yet to be swept this season.
Gotcha.
So they avoided it. They went 2 extra. They did 2 extra games back the weekend with the Brewers. I mean, they hung with them offensively, pitching wise. Rabbit showed he was the reason that he raced.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he keeps showing that he's worth it. So we'll see how that goes. But the Brewers are number one for a reason, and they just they're never out of a game. They
All
were
right.
8-1. They were down 8-1 on Saturday, and they came back to win 10-8.
Wow.
So
and with that, we're gonna move on to the last segment of the night. Congratulations goes out to Cam Newton. Apparently, they are retiring his jersey at Auburn.
somebody that actually won things is getting his jersey retired and not just playing in the Alamo Bowl. He didn't go more. He didn't go 5. Lost the Alamo Bowl and get retired.
No. No.
I don't know if you find a better year. Cam Newton. It's tough to find his junior year at Auburn, 2010. That year he had. That's all time, man. That was an all time year for him. And while it was only one, I mean, it made Auburn relevant for 10 years.
Yeah. Especially when he got in the league and he did what he did. No matter what your opinion about it is.
The only play that I had a problem with of Cam Newton was in the Super Bowl and him not going for that fumble. That's the only play. And it was just, I felt like there was a lack of hustle there from him in a really, really important spot. Now, if
He didn't want to get hurt.
If it were week 3, that's one thing. This is a Super Bowl. Not going after that. I felt like there was just that little lack of effort. I don't. I'm not going to get into his mind to go, oh, well, this is what he. That self-preservation stuff. That's not what happened. That's the only issue I ever had with Cam Newton.
According to the look in his eye, and I've been on the basketball court. I've been on the football court. I mean, I've been on the football field. According to the camera showed the look on his face. And the body language just kind of said, I don't want to get hurt. I that may not have been what he was thinking, but the hesitation, that's what the hesitation kind of spoke. Now, obviously, I don't know what was in his mind. I can only go by what his actions look like that they showed on camera. And unfortunately for him, they showed that thing so many times that the only way you can't say for sure that you have an idea is either 1, you don't want to because you want to support the brother. 2, you don't want to because you're a fan of him and you just want to respect him as a player. Or 3, you're in denial. So and technically all those reasons that I just gave can completely be true and be respected to a level because you have a right to your opinion, right?
Absolutely.
Supposedly the rumor has it.
By all means.
But at the end of the day, he played 3 years in college. 2 of them he didn't play much with.
You got to throw play for 3 years in quotes. He was on a team for 3 years. He played 1, and he showed Florida the reason he should have been playing all 3.
Right. I can agree with that. So kudos for him for taking his opportunity and running with it. And he even got a national championship out of it.
Yes, national titles, by the way.
Huh?
He has 2 natties.
That's right, because Florida did end up
going.
Yeah.
I'm sure he doesn't display that ring, but
No, right. It's about the one you actually participated in, technically. So
they give him an option. So
true. So not everybody can be Kenny Pickett.
Is he like poster child for participation trophies now?
Oh, there's quite a few of them.
I like
If you really want to get technical, every team that's won the
So,
Super Bowl that had that had a backup quarterback, running back, whatever. If you spent most of your time on the bench while the team while the team went to the Super Bowl
remember, holding the clipboard is important.
huh, right. So
Holding your starter's jock is more important, and that's probably what Kenny Pickett did.
I don't think Jalen allowed him to do that. He probably looked at him and went, "Yeah, no, you can hold the clipboard. That's okay." But bottom line, no matter what you think about Cam Newton, give him his respect.
Absolutely.
Give
Congratulations.
him,
That's awesome.
yeah, to having that retired. I believe that other than Jake Delhomme, would you say he's pretty much the best other than Jake Delhomme, which he's clearly better than Jake Delhomme, is his athleticism allowed him to be better than Jake Delhomme, despite the fact that the line was about the same most of the years that he spent there.
Yeah. So Jake,
If not all the years that he spent there. So
Jake Delhomme had the fortunate and unfortunate ability to be the first quarterback, and measuring stick, and he was a good enough quarterback. He wasn't anything amazing. Wasn't anything they're going to write home about. I believe he took him to a Super Bowl though, didn't he?
He did. They lost to my Patriots.
Yep. Achievement wise, at least for the organization, that's the same. Cam Newton though brought in anticipation Carolina that Jake Delhomme didn't, and that's the key difference. Is what the intangibles that Cam brought to the Panthers was way higher than any other quarterback. Any other quarterback that I think in the organization that the Carolina Panthers could be more excited about seeing run onto their field would be none other than the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. It's the only other one that would be as exciting and they should be as excited about as Cam Newton would be Andy Dalton.
Stop. Stop. No. Yeah. No. Speaking of backups, I'm just saying.
He's a crazy man. I like Andy Dalton a lot. I think that he was.
I liked him.
My quarterback, but I'll agree with you that Cam Newton is and will be the face of Carolina Panther football
at quarterback until somebody does better.
What other player do you think of when you think of Carolina? First player you think of when somebody says, "Hey, name me a Carolina Panther."
Sam Mills went over there. I did like Luke Coakley. Reggie White ended up Reggie White ended up going over there. Unfortunately for Carolina, Ray Caruth's name might come up.
Or Cam Newton.
Right.
Cam Newton's the face of that organization. He always he will be until he does something to ruin his reputation in Carolina. And I think if the self-preservation didn't destroy him, nothing will.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that, it's been an awesome show.
It was awesome. It was
we went,
and from now on I can bounce around with him, make it hard for you to hit me.
Right. We're still working on the structure a little bit. We'll talk and everything. But I did get in, but the one spot where the structure worked was I did get in everything I immediately wanted to get in. Next week, I know one topic I want to talk about is something in the chat. Something else that was in the chat. It was Roy Jones Jr. in an interview about the fight between him and Mike Tyson, and I am going to rewatch it on YouTube so that I am ready to give my opinion. my honest opinion
Let's-
based upon watching the fight. Because when I first heard it and they said, "Oh, they're not allowed to knock each other out," I was out. Mentally, I was out. I could have cared less about seeing it. I
Yeah. It's more fights.
so yeah, we already know. Little teaser, little spoiler. We already know one topic that will be up for next week, episode 36. Till then, this is United World of Sports. I'm Dante Suave. This is boy Drew. We'll have Mr. J back next week. Till then, we'll see everybody later.
Have a good night, guys. See you next week.